Hello, this is Storybooks channel. New videos are posted every day. Subscribe and click the bell.
Benjamin, have we finally waited for our daughter to get married? Lauren was making herself pretty in the mirror. I can't believe it. I want Kayla to be happy at last. Benjamin adjusted his shirt, shook invisible dust from his pants, looked at his watch. Time to go to the guests. Excitement reigned in the bride's room. Kayla stood by the huge mirror and waited impatiently for her to finish lacing her dress, her friends chattering merrily. "Oh, Kayla, what a beautiful bride you are," one of her friends said admiringly. "It suits you so well. Your Matthew will die of happiness when he sees you." "Oh, no. She pretended to be scared. "I want to see him alive and well. You and he are perfect for each other. Such a beautiful couple, and your dress is incomparable. If I knew that ready bought, I would have thought that sewn to order sits on you just like fit." "Oh, we're talking." Nora, the bride's best friend, looked out the window. "And there's the groom." "Kayla, don't go out to him yet." "Why not?" "Do you really believe a stupid omen?" Kayla impatiently looked out from behind her friend's back, trying to see the groom. "Let's not break tradition. We'll go down to the guests, and we'll call you to the registration." The girls went down the stairs decorated with colorful garlands. "And when did they have time to put a balloon arch at the entrance?" asked one of the girls. "Look, in the corners of the living room, bouquets of balloons immediately appeared a sense of festivity." "Yeah, there are little tables set up for guests everywhere. I want champagne." "You what?" Her friends told her off. "It's still early. What will the hosts say to us if we get drunk before everyone else?" "We're just a little bit." Guiltily replied the girl. "Let's go outside, shall we?" On the lawn in front of the house was a tent in which the employees of the marriage institution. Two women in bright summer dresses, with gorgeous hairstyles on their heads, were talking animatedly while waiting for the newlyweds. The solemnity of the atmosphere was added by intertwined, huge rings on the back wall of the tent. In the shade of fruit trees, there were tables set with appetizers and glasses filled with wine. It really is a marvelous arrangement here. The bride caught up with her friends, and now together with them plunged into the atmosphere of the upcoming party. "Kayla, why did you leave the room?" She was surrounded by her friends. "What if Matthew sees you?" "I can't stay locked up with guests in the house." The girl was shining with happiness. She couldn't wait to share her cheerful mood with everyone. Kayla smiled welcomingly at those invited to the party. "Kayla," a stylish middle-aged woman hugged her. "Congratulations. You and Matthew look just wonderful." The girl accepted congratulations from all sides, bowed in gratitude to the guests, and smiled. "It's indecent to be so openly happy." Nora whispered in her ear. "About half of the women here, you are envious." "What can I do if I'm happy?" The bride was beautiful. Her thick blonde hair was styled with a tiara. Her light makeup made her face more expressive, her blue eyes looking at the world with rapt attention. "Kayla," an acquaintance of her parents approached her. "Congratulations. You look very beautiful today. Where is the groom?" "I don't know." Blushing with pleasure, the girl replied. "I haven't seen him today." "You are just made for each other." The woman squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Kayla." Suddenly she heard the voice of the groom. "I've been looking for you. Come quickly to me. I missed you so much. What are you doing?" The bridesmaid stopped him. "Don't you dare go near her. It's bad luck. Just be patient. The party starts in 15 minutes. But I just wanted to kiss her." Matthew tried unsuccessfully to make out his fiancée in the crowd. "You'll get over it," one of the girls told him. You have a long and happy life ahead of you. You'll kiss again." Upset Matthew disappeared into the crowd. Honored guests, parents, bride, and groom. Finally, the toastmaster announced it was time for the marriage ceremony to begin. The guests, laughing and chatting, reached the tent, where the music was already playing, and the employee of the marriage ceremony, in the microphone, invited everyone to come closer. "Kayla," the bridesmaids took the bride under the arms. "Come on, the groom's probably waiting." "Yes, come on, the wedding will not wait." "Don't worry," said one of the girls, noticing how Kayla's hands were trembling. "All is well. The guests are in place. The fun is starting. Where's Matthew?" Looking around at those present, the bride asked, "Where did he disappear to?" The guy was offended. Someone answered from the crowd. They chased him away. The guests laughed and began to shout, "Matthew, come out. The bride is waiting for you." Don't be afraid. Marriage is not scary at all. It's even pleasant. Or maybe he was afraid of the first wedding night. The men teased the groom. It happens. "Matthew, we can stand at the door for support." "Dad?" Kayla was about to cry. "Where's Matthew?" "Have you seen him?" "Yeah, he's around here somewhere." "He can't have gone far. Don't be nervous. Maybe the man had to go out on his own." "Let's wait a minute. Guys," the girl looked back at the groom's buddies. "Where's your friend?" "Yeah, he's around here somewhere. He'll be right with you. He knows it's time to get the party started. Some woman came to talk to him. A relative of yours, I think. Maybe your mom?" said Kevin. "They left together and have not yet returned." Kayla always disliked Kevin. She thought he had too much influence over her boyfriend. "My mom is next to me." Kayla took her mother's hand. "Where's Matthew?" Kevin shrugged his shoulders. "I have no idea. Let's look for him. He couldn't have really run away, could he? Or maybe you're the one who tried to talk him out of marrying me." "Why?" The young man stared at her perplexedly. "I have no reason to upset your wedding." "Kayla," Nora snapped at her. "Don't be crazy, your Matthew's coming. What's the guy got to do with it? He always looks at me like he doesn't want me to marry Matthew. Maybe he likes you." The friend tried to lead the distraught bride away from the house. "Well, do you want us to go through all the rooms with you?" "I do." "I have to find my fiancé." "I hope this isn't some stupid joke to tickle your nerves." Kayla walked up the steps into the house, looking in every room. Nora followed her. "Kayla, calm down. Maybe Matthew had a drink and fell asleep," she urged. "I think he's outside. He's lying on a bench somewhere in the shade. Yes, and he can't hear the noise of the guests." Kayla was concentrating on opening one door after another, not paying attention to her friend. "We've been through almost every room. You can see he's not in the house. Let's go outside. They must have found him by now. Now they can't wait for us." "Wait, I haven't checked my parents' bedroom yet." "Are you crazy? What would he be doing in their bedroom? He's not an idiot. Come on, don't get yourself worked up." Kayla, not listening to her, had already opened the door. "Well," Nora pounced on her when the girl suddenly stopped like a stumbling block. "Did you make sure there's no one in there? Let's go to the guests. What are you standing there for?" Her friend looked over the bride's shoulder and gave a quiet ouch. Kayla, on her parents' wide bed, the naked bodies of Matthew, Kayla's husband-to-be, and Lara, her aunt, her father's sister, were entwined in a passionate embrace. The lovers were sound asleep, not the least bit afraid of being caught off guard. The girl turned around and silently ran to her room without noticing anything around her. Kayla, Nora could barely keep up with her, frantically thinking of what to do. "Wait, don't be so hot. Stop, please. What are you going to do? Kayla flew into the room, ripped the tiara out of her hair, threw it on the floor, and then began to remove her dress. The thin fabric immediately ripped. Kayla, don't do this, please. Her friend rushed to her, wanting to hug her, to comfort her somehow, but Kayla pushed her away. Help me get it off. Pulling the laces from behind, the bride said, otherwise I'll rip it. Kayla, don't do anything stupid. Nora coaxed her, helping her with the lacing, not stopping me. Kayla had already changed into a casual outfit when there was a noise and laughter in the hallway. Is there anything I can help you with? Nora asked in desperation, looking at her friend sympathetically. How can you help me? I want to die. Kayla, my friend. The girl hugged her. Is he worth your life? I believe you're in a lot of pain right now, but I know you'll be able to bear it with dignity. Shall we go to the guests? I don't want to see anyone. Help me sneak out of the house, distract them for a minute. But you'll have to explain yourself. You can't just walk away. I'm with you, you'll be fine. Nora released her from the hug, squeezed her hand tightly, as if she wanted to convey her confidence and strength. Kayla looked at her silently and left the room. Kayla, where are you going to disappear to? Her father snapped at her. He was in a cheerful mood. First, Matthew, now you've disappeared. I hope you're not going to sneak away from us and get married in secret somewhere. That would be very romantic, but the guests are waiting. They want to party. The guests, who took part in the search for the groom, laughed and clapped their hands. My daughter, her mother asked, noticing that Kayla had changed her clothes. Where is the wedding dress? Why did you take it off? The smile slowly fell off her face. By the feverish gleam in Kayla's eyes, the woman realized something was wrong. There's the groom. The father was relieved to see Matthew in the crowd. Well, thank God, everyone's here. Where have you been, you wretch? The bride and guests have been looking for you. And he was busy. Kayla shouted sarcastically, looking contemptuously at Matthew. The guests fell silent. What would happen next? He slept with your sister. In your and Mom's bedroom, by the way. She was choking back tears. The last thing she wanted to do right now was cower in a corner and not see anyone. But she knew she couldn't avoid talking to her parents. What are you talking about? Her father looked from his daughter to Matthew and Lara with horror. Kayla was frightening to look at, her face slim, her eyes so sad that Benjamin wanted to grab his daughter to hold her close, to protect her from harm. Matthew did not raise his eyes. His face was crimson. Only Lara looked at her brother defiantly. My God! The man clutched his head. Lara, are you crazy? What are you doing? I'm sorry. There was not a shadow of remorse in the woman's voice. I couldn't resist. Matthew is such a sweet boy. She ran her hand over the young man's cheek, and he blushed even more. So cute and so passionate in bed, she laughed. Lucky you, niece. Lara looked at the girl mockingly. Do you realize what you've done? Benjamin said, looking angrily at his younger sister. You seduced the husband of my daughter, your niece. How dare you, on their wedding day? He is not my husband, corrected Kayla indifferently. Fiancé, now ex-fiancé. It doesn't matter. My father dismissed it. You ruined my daughter's happiness. What shame! What are we going to say to the people at the party? I want to remind you, little brother. Lara said mockingly, I paid for this whole party. What are you worried about, Benjamin? No one was left out of pocket. Now we all calm down, pick up snot, wipe tears, dress up, and as if nothing had happened, go to the guests. They have long been eager to start the holiday. Let's not deprive them of it. Dear guests, She turned to the guests who had gathered in a cluster. "Let's go down to the garden, drink, and be merry. Now the hosts will sort out this little misunderstanding, and we will finally begin the ceremony." The guests talked quietly amongst themselves and went down to the garden. Sweet Auntie. Kayla held herself together with all her might. It was so vile on her soul, as if she had been dumped in the mud. "Let this feast be yours. I don't even mind if you want to marry Matthew. He's all yours now. Whatever you want to do. He has no obligations to me. I release him from them and won't interfere with your little pranks. Isn't that what you wanted?" The woman only snorted contemptuously and followed the guests. Kayla's gaze fell casually on Lara's husband, who couldn't understand what all the fuss was about. There was a mute question in his eyes and anxiety on his face. "Uncle Gary?" She turned to him. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me, and I'm sorry. I can't stay here anymore. I'm stuffy." Kayla headed for the exit of the house. "Stop right now." She heard her father's voice. "I'm not done. We need to talk. Come back now." "I'm sorry, Dad." The girl shrugged. "I'm not in the mood to talk right now. I know everything you're going to tell me, so we can safely postpone the heartwarming conversation until tomorrow. Spare me the explanations now. You can't just walk away. Why don't we just calm down and pretend it never happened? You know we owe everything to Lara." "Yes, Dad," Kayla said tiredly. "I remember that we owe Aunt Lara everything, that we depend on her. Everything we have is hers. You work for her. I hear those words day in and day out, and there's nothing we can do about it. We have to put up with it. But that doesn't mean she has the right to seduce my future husband. We don't know who seduced who." Benjamin tried to stand up for his sister. "Dad, don't be a laughingstock. It's obvious who's who. Are you trying to protect her now? I realize we have to do something to keep the guests happy, and you're sorry if the money's wasted." "Really, daughter?" Benjamin blushed at her words. "The guests are in the house. The tables are set. It's awkward. We'll talk about it later, so we're late. Shall we go to the people? We can't really cancel the wedding. There's nothing wrong." "Nothing?" "Your daughter has just been treated like dirt. Don't pretend you don't realize the scandal your sisters got us into." "Don't exaggerate." Father frowned. "Stop your hysterics. There will be a wedding no matter what." "No, Dad," the girl said firmly. "I'm tired of groveling. There won't be a wedding, and there's no need to think of anything. I'm sure you'll find the right words to explain yourself to the guests." "Well, what are we going to tell them?" At a loss, asked the bewildered father. The mother was crying quietly on the sidelines. "If you want, say that I am crazy and I urgently need to be placed in an asylum. I don't care, but rather reveal the truth. Then no one will have any questions." Kayla headed for the exit of the house. No one got in her way. No one tried to stop her. She came upon her aunt, met her eyes for a moment, and walked on. Lara had a haughty smile on her face. "That would be something to worry about, little brother." Lara grinned and spoke. "She will run and come back. How will she live without money? You'll see she'll be home tonight. Where will she go without you? She's offended, you see. Has she lost it? Don't you realize what you've done? Benjamin attacked her. Why did you do all this? Everything was going so well, you couldn't stand it. I had a little fun." The woman looked at her brother unhappily. "I promise, I won't do it again, even if you don't pout at me. I don't understand how it occurred to you to go to bed with that boy, and even a few minutes before the wedding, with guests and a husband in the house. Haven't you had enough of mature men? You got into our bed, too. Why? Sporting interest." Lara laughed. "What can I do if I like young, handsome men?" He was pleased, by the way. Would your daughter be able to give him what I gave him? She's no good in bed. Now he knows how a wife should please her husband, and that's a lesson to her. Don't flick your beak. You have to keep a man in your sights at all times. I'm shocked. If you dare me again. Benjamin's voice is filled with metallic tones. Interfere in my daughter's life? I? What you? What will you do, Benjamin? Lara squinted her eyes. Remind you where you belong. Don't you forget yourself. Don't you ever raise your voice to me. Enough moralizing, it's time to go down to the guests. Think what you're going to say to them if you can't talk sense into your daughter. On the lawn, the guests languished in ignorance. The employees of the marriage institution impatiently looked at the clock. The appearance of the owners of the house was greeted with applause. What happened? It was coming from all directions. It's time to start the party. Our throats are already dry, and we haven't had a poppy in our mouths since morning. Where's the bride? Where's the groom gone again? Why do you always lose them? Dear guests, trembling from the excitement, said Benjamin, I have to inform you that there will be no wedding. What do you mean there won't be a wedding? What's the matter? Is someone dead sick? The crowd erupted again. There have been unforeseen circumstances. Please forgive us for spoiling the holiday. The guests chattered indignantly and slowly began to disperse. And I want to have fun. A cheerful voice suddenly sounded on the lawn. Why are the guests leaving? It has begun. Rolling her eyes to the sky, Lara said, her husband, holding a champagne glass in his hand and not firmly on his feet, blocked the way. Calm your husband down, Benjamin asked. We don't need another scandal. Gary, shall we go home? The woman spoke affectionately, taking her husband under her arm. The party is already over. Darling, the man, swaying with cloudy eyes, stared at his wife. I don't want to go home. I want to have fun. Why is everyone leaving? Stop them. He nimbly grabbed the arm of one of the guests, trying to hold on, but the man pushed him away sharply. Gary lost his balance and fell right onto the appetizer table. There was a pitiful clinking of clinking glasses. Champagne spilled. No drunken man screamed. What's the pity? That's how money goes in the sand. He laughed drunkenly and crawled on his knees, trying to pick up the sandwiches that had fallen into the grass. Hey, waiter, bring the tray. What's the point of wasting it? Enough, Lara said sternly. She took her husband under her arm and tried to get him to his feet. Get up. Damn you. Let's go home. When did you get so drunk? Leave me alone. He yanked his arm out. Don't touch me. It's a shame we didn't get to go to the wedding. The day was ruined. Benjamin, Lara threw an angry look at her brother. What are you standing there for? Help me get him in the car. Can't you see he's out of his mind? Drunk Gary was picked up and led to the car. I don't want to leave. He wouldn't go. Benjamin, tell her we haven't had a toast to the young ones yet. Matthew, Kayla, be happy, guys, shouted the man, breaking out of his arms. Love each other. Bitter. Why doesn't anyone yell bitter? Be happy. Tears sprang from his eyes. Lara, he cried, I love you. Let me kiss you. Benjamin, tell her we must celebrate your daughter's wedding. Gary, calm down. Benjamin urged him. We'll drink to the health of the young couple, but now go home. They got him into the car. Lara nodded goodbye to her brother and drove off. Finally, all the guests left. Benjamin sat with his wife in the tent on the lawn and looked sadly at the set tables. He smoked one cigarette after another. Evelyn cried quietly. What a beautiful couple they could have been. I was so happy when Kayla confessed that she had fallen in love with Matthew, literally from the first time she met him. Do you think his daughter will forgive him? Of course she will. She's a sensible girl, Benjamin said thoughtfully, remembering the evenings when the young man first stepped on the threshold of their house. Daughter, Benjamin, rubbing his hands together, entered his daughter's room. I want you to meet a very interesting young man. I hope he will be a good husband for you and a reliable business partner for me. And when I'm old, he'll be the head of the firm. What can I do if God didn't give me and my mother a son? I have to figure out who to leave my inheritance to. Dad, Kayla laughed, looking at her father. Do you seriously think I'm going to marry the man you choose for me? I'd like to believe that your first concern is for your daughter's happiness and then your business partner. Of course I am, silly. Her father kissed her on the cheek. But I don't want some gambler, without a tribe and without a family, to turn your head and take over the management of our firm. Remember history. Rich parents always try to make their daughter happy. Have you forgotten that this is the 21st century? I think I can arrange my own life. I'm sure you'll like Matthew, and you'll thank me later. He's a young, but very smart and promising young man, and he's already running one of the divisions of his father's company. If we merge the business, which I don't doubt at all, we'll be so strong, no competitors will be afraid of us. I hope he's at least handsome. The girl sighed doubtfully. Yes, he is. I'm sure you'll like him right away. My mother and I wish you nothing but happiness. Darling, Mother intervened in the conversation. When will your acquaintance come to us? I think, in a couple of days, and you, daughter, put on your best dress. Try to impress him. It won't be hard for you. You're a beauty. Kayla, without noticing it, was looking forward to the appearance of the young man in their house. Everything was ready for the meeting. The girl looked furtively at her watch and still shuddered with surprise when the doorbell rang. Matthew? She heard it and felt her heart race. Come in, please. Don't be shy. Make yourself at home. The young man entered the living room after his father. This is my wife, Evelyn, and this is my daughter, Kayla. The new acquaintance gave each of them a bouquet of flowers, handed a bottle of cognac to her father, and kissed first her mother's hand, then Kayla's. Goosebumps ran down the girl's skin. It's very nice to meet you. Matthew looked at the girl with interest. She blushed with pleasure. The young man was really handsome in Holland. The father was not deceived. Kayla thought with a laugh, we should take a closer look at him. Maybe we can really have something. Why are we standing here? Her mother came to her senses. Let's go to the table. Everything's ready. Matthew kept his eyes on Kayla. She was embarrassed under his piercing gaze. There was much talk of business at the table. Benjamin praised Matthew for his entrepreneurial spirit, admired his success. Kayla was mostly silent, listening to her guest's leisurely pace of conversation. You excuse me. Finally, the young man rose from the table. I have to go, unfortunately. Oh, that's too bad. Evelyn was saddened. But you'll come again, won't you? We had such a good time. I will. The guests bowed ceremoniously to their hosts. It was a pleasure to meet you. Kayla, my daughter. Her father addressed her. Show Matthew out. The young people went outside. Kayla, the young man spoke to her. Let's go to the movies, shall we? Do you like movies or do you prefer the theater? I don't know, the girl was confused. We still know each other so little. I think I've known you for a long time. Trying to catch her eye, said Matthew. If someone had told me that Benjamin had such a beautiful daughter, I would have asked to visit. So shall we go to the movies? Well, okay. The girl answered shyly, unable to resist the charm of her new acquaintance. And what picture will we watch? It doesn't matter. just to spend this evening next to you." He was silent for a moment. "And let's put aside the ceremonies and go to you." "I agree." Kayla laughed. "Give me your phone number. I'll call you and arrange a meeting." They exchanged phone numbers. "It was a pleasure to meet you." The young man kissed her cheek. The girl blushed with pleasure. Matthew got into the car, honked his horn, and drove away, and Kayla lost her peace. She immediately started calling her friend Nora. "You can't imagine how handsome he is," she said dreamily, "and how smart he is. So speaks well. I was listening to him. I'm sure I won't be bored with him. Beauty is not the point." Nora warned her. "He doesn't miss a single skirt. Why should you be so happy? You think it's easy to love a man who cheats? It's not a joke. So what? When we get married, he'll be completely different, you'll see. My love will do wonders for him. It's just that he's searching for his ideal. And you've decided that Matthew's ideal is you?" "I'm sure he is," Kayla said enthusiastically. "No man can compare to him. He's every woman's dream. How many men have you seen to compare?" snorted her friend. "You've only known him for a little while, and you're ready to jump into marriage. What if it's love at first sight? You're stupid. You will have more than one night to cry into your pillow because of him, knowing that he is somewhere with another spends the evening. Think before you speak, yeah. It's easy to lose your freedom, but you don't want to have to bite the bullet. And I believe he'll be all mine. I can make sure he never looks at another woman again. You don't doubt me, do you?" "I don't doubt you, but I don't doubt him. The humped man can only be fixed by the grave," Nora said doubtfully. "You'll cry with him." The young people began to see each other. Matthew could not see his beloved every day, because the business took too much time, but the meetings were always long-awaited and joyful. Not being able to see each other often, they called each other on the phone every evening. Sometimes they chatted until the wee hours of the morning. "Kayla, how would you like to go to a nightclub together? Relax, have some fun." "I'm in." The girl said yes. "It's been so long since I've been there." "Then I'll pick you up tonight?" "Okay, I'll be waiting. I miss you." "I miss you too. See you later." "Bye." Kayla lay in bed for a long time, smiling into the darkness of the night, Matthew's voice in her ears. "Daughter, why are you glowing like that?" Looking suspiciously at her daughter, Evelyn asked in the morning. "Mommy." Kayla threw herself on her mother's neck. "Matthew invited me to the club. So that's just great. I'm happy for you, dear. Matthew, he's a wonderful boy, so reliable, and I feel so safe when you're with him. That's what a real man should be." The day of waiting for the meeting flew by. Kayla heard the sound of a car and ran outside. Matthew appeared with a huge bouquet of flowers. "Hi, these are for you." The young man held out the roses to her. "Thank you." The girl buried her nose in the flowers. "I'll put them in a vase and we can go." She went back into the house. What a magnificent bouquet! Her mother gasped as she accepted the flowers. "Matthew spoils you." "Mommy, he's so thoughtful." The girl quickly hugged her mother and ran away. The young people got into the car and went to rest. The club was crowded. "It's great here." Kayla, smiling, looked at the young man. "When I'm with you." Taking her hand, Matthew spoke. "I feel good everywhere. Kayla, I really like you. I've never met anyone like you. You're extraordinary. You can say that too." The girl was embarrassed. "I'm ordinary. There are thousands of them." "No, you're special." "Once again, I thank your father in my mind. I really don't want to part with you. When I don't see you, it seems that all the light fades before my eyes." Kayla listened to his voice and was ready to hug the whole world. I have another free night tomorrow," Matthew said as they sat at a table drinking a cocktail after dancing. "Shall we go to the restaurant? I need to have a serious talk with you. Tell me now, or I'll die of curiosity before tomorrow." "No, it's uncomfortable here. I want us to have a festive atmosphere around us." Kayla's heart squeezed with excitement. "Will you come?" "Well, what do you want to talk about?" "I'm not telling you that yet. I want to surprise you. It'll be a nice surprise." Kayla was so nervous she was almost late for her date. In the restaurant, she was met by the receptionist and, smiling mysteriously, led her to a table hidden from prying eyes by a curtain. The girl's legs were shaking from worry. When the receptionist pulled back the drape, Kayla gasped. In the center of the table, there was a small bouquet of flowers, candles were burning, and the central wall was decorated with flowers made of balloons, ribbons, glowing garlands. "I've been waiting for you?" Matthew stood up to meet her. "I was beginning to think you weren't coming." "I'm sorry," the girl said, embarrassed. "I was late. I was a little out of time." The young man gave her a hand and helped her sit down at the table. "I didn't know there were such nice places in this restaurant. Do you go to the restaurant often?" Matthew raised his eyebrows in surprise. "No, I don't," Nora protested. "But no one I know who frequents the restaurant has ever told me that." Meanwhile, the waiter brought appetizers and poured wine into glasses. "Have I told you before that you're very beautiful?" Matthew raised his glass. "You are a mystery to me, a magic. You've done the unbelievable. I'm not interested in anyone but you. No woman in the world compares to you. You're my cosmos, my unattainable dream." Kayla blushed with pleasure at these words. She was afraid to frighten her guesses, but in her heart, she secretly waited for Matthew to say the long-awaited words, "I would like to live with you all my life." The girl's heart was ready to jump out of her chest. "I have a surprise for you." At these words, the parterres slid apart and the magician entered. The girl laughed merrily. "What a surprise! I've long since come out of childhood. We are all children at heart." "Philosophically," Matthew replied, "this is only the beginning. The main surprise is ahead." The magician, making some incredible movements with his hands, took out a live rose from the depths of his tailcoat and handed it to Kayla. Then he took her right hand in his palms, mumbled something to himself, and suddenly released her hand. "Matthew!" Kayla's breath caught, and on her ring finger was a ring of two thin, delicate, intertwined rings of white and yellow gold. On top it was set with 3 small diamonds, which shimmered with sparkles in the glow of candles and garlands. "It's just unbelievably beautiful." She looked up at him with eyes full of admiration. "But how did the magician slip the ring onto my finger?" "I felt nothing at all." The man, smiling, bowed in a bow. "A sleight of hand and no fraud." He replied, bowed once more, and disappeared behind the parterres as suddenly as he had appeared. "My dear, will you marry me?" Satisfied with the effect he had produced, Matthew waited for an answer. "Yes, of course I will marry you." Tears sprang from Kayla's eyes. "Why are you crying? This is so unexpected, so unusual." "I'm crying with happiness. I love you. And I love you madly. I think there is no one in the world happier than me." The young man took her hand and kissed it tenderly. "I am also happy that such a girl reciprocated me." She looked adoringly at Matthew. "Now we have to announce to everyone that we are going to get married. The days until the wedding will drag on for an agonizingly long time, but I'm willing to wait as long as it takes, because the reward is you." They reached toward each other and fell into a long kiss. After dinner at the restaurant, Matthew walked Kayla home. They decided to make the wedding announcement, bringing both families together. Nora? The girl secluded herself in her room and immediately started calling her friend. Matthew proposed to me. We're getting married. I was afraid he'd never want to commit to me, and then it happened. And you said yes, of course. Yes, she laughed. You don't know how happy I am? I didn't expect him to ask me to be his bride so soon, and yet in my heart I waited. He's so sweet. He's mine now, forever, and I'll never give him up. Tell me you're happy for me. Fool, you're in love. My friend sighed heavily. You don't see anything. You don't want to listen to anyone. You'll regret not believing me later. You ignored all my warnings. You're wrong about him. He's changed. Why would he go out with other people when he's got me? And once we're married, I'll be surrounded by so much care and attention that he won't even want to look elsewhere. Knave. Nora sighed again. You're not thinking straight now, though. Do what you want, but don't come crying to me about your Matthew's cheating. I won't. Kayla lowered her voice. But promise me you'll be godmother to our children. Kayla ran outside, and Kevin was standing on the porch. It looked like he was waiting for her. Shall I take you out of here? Asked the guy. You waited for me on purpose to enjoy the triumph? Look, rejoice. I don't have a fiancé anymore. Kayla was shaking, eyes glittering with feverish fire. I want to help you. Shall we go? He opened the car door. Yes. Kayla quickly got into the back seat. Where are we going? Kevin asked and started the car. I don't know. Muffle, the girl answered. The main thing is to get away from here. They drove in silence for a while. Kayla looked out the window. Her mind was empty. Did you know he was cheating on me with Aunt Lara? The girl asked. Kevin gripped the steering wheel so hard that his knuckles turned white. Yeah. Yes, I knew. Finally, he spoke. I talked him out of this unholy affair. I told Matthew to stop, to think about the fact that he would soon have a family. I warned him against it, warned him that you'd find out one day anyway, but he wouldn't listen to anything. It was as if she'd bewitched him. You mean? Kayla said slowly, that this meeting wasn't a coincidence? That wasn't the first time they'd been together. Shit! Kevin cursed. I'm sorry, I thought you'd known about their connection for a long time. No, I didn't know anything. She whispered, tears streaming from her eyes. Why did he do this to me? All I could think about was him, believing him, and not seeing the obvious. Nora was right. I really am a naive fool. Kevin felt guilty in front of her. Damn it, I should have told her, he thought. It was hard for him to look at the crying girl. Kayla, you try to calm down. I'm sure Matthew is sorry for what happened. He'll definitely come to you, apologize, and you'll make up. Who doesn't? Lara seduced him, and he couldn't resist. She's an experienced woman. You know what? Wiping her tears, Kayla suddenly said, take me to a bar or even a nightclub. I don't want to go home. In fact, I want a drink. Kevin nodded. Good for you, that's better, he said and drove the car to the nightclub. Kayla entered the room and went straight to the bar. Is something wrong? The bartender asked, noticing her mascara running down her cheeks. Yes, she answered briefly, pulling out a mirror and a paper napkin from her purse. I want a drink. The girl cleaned herself up and took a few deep breaths, trying to regain her composure. Kayla, my treat. Kevin lowered himself onto a nearby chair and ordered a cocktail for himself and Kayla. She took the straw out of the glass and drained it. Are you crazy? Kevin exclaimed. Yes, I was crazy when I decided to marry Matthew. Serves me right. Don't bother me, I want to get drunk. Why don't we dance? The young man suggested, eyeing her warily. Let's go. Kayla headed for the middle of the hall. Tell me, please. She was already a little drunk. How can you consider Matthew your friend? You're nothing like him. How many women did he have before me? How many while he was courting me, do you know? I don't know. The girl was moving to the beat of the music, waving her arms. I just realized today that he wasn't going to stop marrying me. He wasn't going to be faithful to me. And if I hadn't caught them in bed, they probably would have kept seeing each other. She laughed nervously. Kevin was afraid that a little more of this and the girl would become hysterical. Slow music started playing. Ask me to dance. Suddenly Kayla asked. The young man hugged her. She hung on him helplessly. Why? Why am I so unhappy? You will surely find your happiness, Kayla. Gently pressing her against him, Kevin soothed her. Do you think so? She looked at him with interest. Let's drink to love and true friendship. She freed herself from his embrace and headed towards the bar with a firm step. Young man, with difficulty pronouncing the words, the girl asked, pour me some more of your magic soothing drink. I'm not so sick at heart anymore. Yes, thank you. But don't drink it in one gulp. The bartender warned her. Otherwise you won't taste the cocktail. That's true. She shook her head. I don't remember what I drank, but it was good. Kayla? Kevin tried to stop her. Do you need a ride home? No way. I want to dance. You don't need to drink anymore. Who are you to tell me what to do? Maybe I'm the one who wants to get drunk tonight. Don't get in my way. Why aren't you drinking? One of us has to stay sober, especially when I'm driving. If you want to go home, I'll stay here. Then I'll ask this nice young man here. She tried to stroke the bartender's cheek. Call me a cab, won't you, buddy? I'm not leaving you. We came together, we'll leave together. Draining her glass, Kayla moved towards the dance floor again. She danced like she was trying to exhaust herself. How fun are the people here tonight? Jumping and waving her arms, she said, I feel very good. Thank you for bringing me here. You're a good man. Kevin followed her closely, not letting her go a step away from him. When she was tired, she almost fell at the feet of the dancers. The young man picked her up in his arms and carried her to the car. It was dawn when Kevin drove Kayla home. Oh, the girl moaned as she opened her eyes. The sun is so bright. What a headache. She wanted to get up, but leaned back against the pillow and closed her eyes, nausea rising in her throat. Good morning, beautiful. She heard a man's voice above her head. With difficulty, she opened her eyes again and squinted at the man. Oh, God! She whispered immediately, forgetting her headache, pulling the blanket up higher. You, me? What are you doing here? Where am I? Don't be nervous, please. You're in my house. Why did you bring me here? Looking at him suspiciously, the girl asked. You flatly refused to go home, so what was I supposed to do? Here, have a drink. He handed her a glass of water and a pill. It'll make you feel better. I hope you're not going to poison me. She said and took the pill. I don't remember anything. No wonder. Kevin laughed. You drained almost half the bar last night. No way, Kayla blushed. Actually, I don't drink. I figured as much. Smiling, he agreed. God, how embarrassing. The girl covered her face with her hands. Calm down, please. Nothing terrible happened. Just a little too much with cocktails. We danced, we talked, and then I realized that I had to get you home before you fell asleep on some sofa. And we did. Kayla faltered, searching for the right words. Between us? Don't worry about it. Kevin smiled again. Nothing happened between us. Why am I in your bed? Like a true gentleman, I gave you the bed, and I laid down on the couch. So I didn't take advantage of your helplessness. Your honor was safe tonight. You can rest assured. There's something else I forgot to tell you. Oh yes, your cell phone. He took the phone out of the nightstand and handed it to the girl. Sorry, I had to turn it off because it was ringing off the hook. Thank you so much for not abandoning me in my time of need. It's been a pleasure helping you. There's a towel and robe in the bathroom. Then come into the kitchen and I'll make breakfast. He stood for a moment, then walked out of the bedroom, leaving the girl alone. Kayla got out of bed. Her head was still foggy, but the pain was gone. She went to the bathroom, stood under the hot jets of water for a long time, as if trying to wash herself off the remnants of yesterday. Come to the table. Kevin invited the girl when she came out of the bathroom. It's a bachelor's breakfast, don't mind. Thanks. She sat down at the table. They ate in silence. Kayla thought intensely, picking at her plate of scrambled eggs. She ate a bite without tasting it. Her heart felt heavy. Your head is going to explode. Kevin couldn't take it anymore. Say something? I'm sorry. I'm not ready to talk right now. I have to sort out my own thoughts first. What should I do? The girl pondered. My running away is no reason not to talk to my parents. I should call them and let them know I'm okay. They must be freaking out. I'll call, and of course they'll defend Matthew and convince me to go back to him. My dad will say it's no big deal. He doesn't think Lara did anything wrong. I don't see how he can justify her when I caught Matthew in bed with her. This coming from my own father? Kayla? She heard Kevin's voice, and as if waking from a dream, she looked at him in surprise. I've been wondering about something for a long time. Maybe it will seem immature to you, but I'll ask it. I'm trying to understand, did you agree to marry Matthew at the behest of your parents, or did you have feelings for him? You know, she said slowly. Yesterday morning I would have told you yes, I love Matthew, but today I'm ashamed to admit it. Today I'm even relieved that the wedding is off. Kevin kept his eyes on her. Apparently, I only thought I loved him. It took a shock like that to realize what was true and what was false. What are you going to do next? Go back home? Oh no, I can't go home. I'm sure your father and mother will beg you not to call off the wedding. It would mean pretending it never happened. Smile at Aunt Lara like nothing happened and marry Matthew because he's a wealthy man and I don't want to play by their rules anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. All I know is I'm not going home. You know, suddenly Kevin said, come with me. Where? Kayla was surprised. My grandmother gave me a house in the village. It's 300 kilometers from the city. I've already got a job, a good position, a decent salary. We'll put the house in order and live normally. Why, there's fresh air there, the beauty is all around. After all, you can live for a while until everything calms down and then decide what you'll do. But I can't go with you. Where will I live? The house is big enough for 2 people. We can't just live together. It's a village. Who am I going as? You and I are strangers. In the city, it's not wrong for a girl to live with a man and not be married to him, but it's different there. It's a bad idea. It won't work. Yeah, everybody's gonna be pointing fingers at me. If it's important to you, you can say you're my fiancé. We're saving up for the wedding. We can live in peace for a while, at least 6 months. And then what? What happens in 6 months? Then you and I will be married. Kevin smiled. I should have confessed a long time ago, because I love you. But it's impossible. The girl said, confused. Why not? I'll have 6 months to win you over. What if? No ifs. You will love me for sure. I will do everything so that one morning you wake up and realize that you can't live without me. Kayla looked at the young man with a long look. Good, she answered decisively. I'll go. Good, Kevin was happy. Then let's get ready, get some groceries, and go to the village, away from the problems of the city. What are we going to do there when we get there? First, we need to assess the situation, see what condition the house is in. It might need some repairs. Kayla, the young man said hesitantly, of course it's none of my business, but don't you want to talk to your parents? Not right now. Kayla frowned. A little later. Until I'm ready to talk to them, I need to calm down. I feel like I've shattered into many pieces. I need to try to regain at least some semblance of composure. Okay, Kevin agreed. You know the best thing to do, don't you? They went to the store and had a long discussion about what to buy. What if there is no light where we will cook? Kayla hesitated as Kevin put a bag of potatoes in the cart. Wouldn't it be better to get something that didn't need cooking? Can we make do with sandwiches? Even if there's no light, the young man reassured her. We have an oven. We can cook everything on it. An oven? The girl was amazed. Do you know how to light it? Of course, he assured her. It's no big deal. When the cart was filled with the goods Kevin thought they needed, they quickly paid at the cash register, loaded everything into the car, and set off. Are you sure you know where we're going? Kayla asked as they turned onto the dirt road, not sad anymore, but rather happy with the anticipation of something new in life. Yeah, we'll take a shortcut. Don't worry, I know the area pretty well. When was the last time you visited your grandmother? About 10 years ago. Don't you think the terrain might have changed, and no one's been on this road for a long time? Watch out! Suddenly the girl shouted, "Hare!" You almost ran him over. The car swerved sideways. Kevin tried to straighten it out, stepped on the gas, the engine roared and stalled. That's it. Congratulations. The young man looked out of the window and said sadly, We're stuck. Stuck how? We had to choose between saving the hare or going straight ahead. As soon as I turned sideways, I got stuck. Forest roads are unpredictable. The back tire's in a hole. He got out of the car and sat down beside it, looking behind the mud splashes. Can't we get out ourselves? I can push. The girl also got out. It's no use. We're sitting tight. We can wait. Kayla said cheerfully, for someone to come through and help us. We could stand here till the third coming. I was a fool to take a shortcut. If we were on asphalt now, we'd be here long ago. Quiet. Kayla suddenly cheered him up and grabbed his arm. Do you hear that car? At this time on the road really showed a car. The driver stopped a few meters from the travelers. What, guys? He asked cheerfully, leaning out of the window. Stuck. Yes, we hit a pothole. Can you help us? Kevin thanked God for sending them this man. Where are you guys going? Asked the stranger when Kevin's car was already standing on a dry road. We're going to my grandmother's village. Why didn't you recognize the turnoff to the village? It's the other way. What other way? Kevin shouted. You have to get on the main highway and drive back about 10 kilometers, and there you'll see a signpost. He walked around the car, assessing the situation. Then he hooked up a rope, started his car, and dragged them to the road. That was it. He looked at the work of his hands with satisfaction. Don't get stuck again. The man said a warm goodbye to Kevin and Kayla and drove off. Let's get out of here. The young man was frustrated because time had been wasted. After about half an hour, they finally reached the village and found the house. Yes, Kayla looked around the rooms. We're going to have to do a lot of cleaning around here. That's all right. The boy answered her cheerfully. We have plenty of time to clean up before dark. This place is going to need some repairs. Kayla noted. and not a small one. Yes, Kevin agreed. Almost all the furniture is in disrepair. The floors. Stomping his feet, he said. They need replacing too. The walls and roofs are still strong. I agree it's a lot of work, but I think we can manage. What do you think? Kayla happily poured herself into the work in silence. I'll go and talk to the men, the young man said. Maybe someone will help us out. All right, I'll take a look around. Kevin left. The girl was left alone. She looked around the rooms with interest, looking at the pictures on the walls. The owners. Suddenly she heard, "Hello, hello." Kayla stepped out onto the porch and saw a woman smiling good-naturedly. Are you the ones who are going to live here now? We are. Kayla watched her with interest. It's good to be young. My name is Clara. Kayla, nice to meet you. We have nature here. The air is clean. Just live and enjoy. You should renovate. The deceased hasn't done it in 5 years. That's why we came here, to fix the house. Why are you going to do it alone? It's not that kind of work. I'll talk to my friends. We'll get you all the wallpaper in the house in no time. Don't worry, we'll clean it up. Oh, thank you so much. Kayla was at a loss. That would be great. It's too early to say thank you. When are you going to tile it? This weekend. Oh, that's great. We'll come over and help decorate all the rooms. Don't look at me like I'm old. I can still do a lot of things, and my friends are just as perky as me. You look around. Clara told me to take care of business. I'll go get help. By evening, the house was cleaned. You guys must be hungry. Clara realized. I'm an old geezer. I'm out of my mind. Come to my place. I'll feed you. Thank you. Kayla tried to refuse. We have everything. No excuses are acceptable. The old woman waved at her. It's completely different here. Kayla said thoughtfully as they drove back to town, late at night, tired. Strangers offer their help, and it's easier, isn't it? Anyway, I like it. I'm glad you liked it. Kevin smiled. We'll finish the repairs, and then we can move in. The week went by quickly. On Saturday, Kevin and Kayla bought all the furniture. It was to be delivered to the village on Sunday. I was afraid we wouldn't make it. The young man confessed when the young people had dinner at their house in the evening. There was so much to do. I didn't expect such helpful people here either. Can you imagine? The neighbors have already offered their help in assembling the furniture, so you won't have to do it all alone. And Clara promised to clean the whole house after the renovation. Sounds like she's enjoying it. I'm glad we have such a friendly neighbor. Sunday all day, I didn't even have time to sit down to rest. Guys, Clara stopped by when the furniture was already assembled. All that was left was to set it up and mop the floors. Finish up here and come and have a bath. It's the nicest thing to do before the work week, to wash off all the dirt. Oh, right, Kevin caught on. I have my first day of work tomorrow. Tired, Kevin and Kayla fell asleep. Kevin had to go to work today. The first thing that came to her mind when she woke up was looking in the new refrigerator and pulling out a plate of eggs. Yawning and pulling himself up, the young man peered into the skillet. How delicious it smells! Where did the eggs come from? Clara obliged. Kayla smiled. Why are you up so early? I could have made eggs myself. Sit down. The girl put the contents of the frying pan on plates. I want to go to the city. Why? Kevin looked at her questioningly. I've decided to stop hiding. I need to talk to my parents. Maybe now they'll hear me. I'm under no illusions, though. Dad's probably still mad. You're right. We'll have to talk sooner or later. He took the car keys out of his jacket. Here, it'll be quicker. Oh, And one more thing. He took out some money and put it on the table. Take it. It'll come in handy. Kevin, the girl looked at him gratefully. Thank you so much for your support. I will definitely come back. Kayla saw the doubt in Kevin's eyes, all the way she thought about what she would tell her parents, but the conversation didn't go the way she imagined. Kayla, her father shouted when she appeared on the doorstep. Where have you been all this time? No call, no message. My mother and I almost went crazy. My daughter, her mother wailed, hugging her. At least Nora called and said you were all right. We didn't know what to think. I needed to be alone. Too much had happened lately. The girl went to her room and started packing. Where are you going? Dad was surprised. I'm going to move out of your house. I am an adult. It's time to start living on my own. And where are you going to live? Dad grinned. Most importantly, on what? Don't worry, Dad. I'll work. I'm going to the country. I don't want to stay here anymore. I didn't know Matthew had decided to trade city life for country life. What's Matthew got to do with it? Kayla asked, still packing. It's over with him. I'm going with Kevin. He's got a house in the village, and we've been renovating it this week. Kevin's already got a job, and I'll find something to do. We'll be all right. Kayla, Mother cried out in horror. Listen to yourself. How can you seriously say such a thing? Are you going to live in the country, in this stable, surrounded by marginalized people? And this Kevin, how could he let you do repairs? Yes, he's a real exploiter. You're crazy. Who did you trade Matthew for? With him, you could have had a home, you wouldn't have had to work, and in a year you'd be giving us grandchildren. And now what? What are you going to become in a year in the country? My God, this is my daughter talking. Mom, I can do my own thing in the country, believe me. How can you think of self-development there? Do you think you'll be happier with Kevin? With that bastard? He's no match for Matthew. Matthew is such a subtle, intelligent boy. Father, why don't you say something? Evelyn turned to her husband in despair. Oh yes, Kayla nodded. Matthew may be smart, but it's hard to argue with that. I just don't want to have to guess every time he walks out the door. Did he go to work or did he go to bed with another rich, great-aged lady like my Aunt Lara? You're wrong, daughter. Benjamin interjected. Matthew loves you. Yeah, he made a mistake, but that's okay. You don't know how much he regrets it. We all make mistakes sometimes. Don't be so hot. Learn to forgive. Come on, stop fooling around. We've played enough. You've shown your independence. We realize the little girl has grown up, but you have to stop. Come home. That's enough. You've had enough. The father tried to take the suitcases from his daughter, but she gently pulled him away. You still don't get it. I'm not joking or playing around. I'm serious about starting a new life. I'm tired of fitting in, of playing the good girl. Well, think about it. Why do you want to do all this? You have a home here. We're close by. The girl saw her father struggling to stay calm. What awaits you in the village? Kevin? Who the hell is he and where did he come from? You know him not well enough. Leave him alone. In a week he won't even remember you. And Matthew? You know each other perfectly well. You're hurt now, we understand, but it'll pass. You just give Matthew a chance to make it right. Do you hear me? Why don't you say anything? Dad, I can hear you perfectly well, and I know what you're going to say next. You think you're scaring me with the difficulties? What makes you think Kevin is exploiting me? Why on earth would you advise me to leave him? Because you think he's bad. Oh, right, because you have Matthew. He's an example of a fine family man who can provide a woman with anything her heart desires. I even know what's in store for me. I'll live at home, surrounded by beautiful furniture, all my wishes fulfilled at the click of a button. I'll give you grandchildren, a beautiful future. Only me and my children need Matthew no more than expensive furnishings. We'll give a certain status to a young, successful businessman. He will come when he wants, leave when he wants, and in between work and home, seek comfort in the arms of other women. What's next? Is this the life you parents have in store for your daughter? Kayla, the mother cried, we only care about you. Matthew is already like a son to us. We love him. And you're used to luxury and comfort. How can you live long in the country? Don't you think I know what you're worried about? Kayla shifted her gaze tiredly from her father to her mother. You hope to keep your business intact. You don't care how Matthew and I get along. You think you have the right to tell me who to live with, how to live my life, because you're going to provide us with money. And you remember to remind me of that every day, but I don't need it. Why? What do you need? What is there in this stinking hole but not in our house? What else do you need? My father didn't hold back anymore. I already have everything I need, a house, girlfriends I can just have tea with and have a heart-to-heart talk with. They don't care about my status or the thickness of my parents' wallet. Most importantly, I have a man I love who cares, who listens to me, not swatting me away like an annoying fly, and he loves me simply because I am me, not because my parents have money. Kayla, my mother splashed her hands. Are you crazy? That Kevin was bewitching you. Wait till you remember what I said when he forbids you to talk to your parents. Leave him, for God's sake. Listen to us. We've seen a lot of things in life, and you're inexperienced. You're easily fooled. Mom, do you realize that I'm really happy now? Daughter, father coughed. Because of you, our whole business is falling apart. Think of your mother and me. We've done so much for you. We can't lose everything because of your resentment. You have to go back to Matthew, or Lara will pull the money from the firm, and we'll deal with it. I was counting on your husband's father for support. I feel sorry for you, honestly. The girl looked sadly at her parents. I don't know when you became like this. Dad, you loved Mom, didn't you? You didn't even want to work with Aunt Lara before. And now what? Why is working with her and your own comfort more important to you than my happiness? She was quiet for a moment. I don't want to fight with you, but I'm not leaving Kevin. Let's end our useless argument here. I guess we're not speaking the same language yet. She was determined to leave. Kayla, don't go. Please stay. Her mother begged her. Okay, you'll go back to Kevin, but later. Stay at home. We'll think it over, talk it over, take our time. Don't do anything stupid. Please, sweetheart. Mom. Kayla stopped, hugged her. I love you, but I'm not staying. I hope someday you will understand me and forgive me. The girl got into the car, waved goodbye to her mother, glanced at the house. Her father's figure loomed in the window. Is she gone? Benjamin asked. Gone, hard, sighed Evelyn. What are we going to do now? The man went into his office, sat down at his desk, propped his head up with his hand, and said gloomily into space, Why did I get involved with Lara? I wouldn't owe anyone anything now. A heavy memory was weighing on him. Benjamin had berated himself more than once for agreeing to do business with his sister. At the time, it seemed to him he had made the only right decision. Slowly we're building up sales. Benjamin paced the office. Funds are tight. You could take out a loan. The wife stammered. I'm all over these loans. The man sat down abruptly in his chair. Profit is only enough to cover debt obligations, and there is not enough left for development. But others also take loans for development. And the bank refused us this time because we already have a lot of loans. We need an investor. Then we could not only quickly close all the loans, but also increase turnover. The niche is profitable. Household appliances will always be in demand. So none of your fellow entrepreneurs will give you money. Maybe they would, but they would have to share the company's shares, and I wouldn't like that very much. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to mess with strangers. While Benjamin and Evelyn were discussing the problems of the family business, the doorbell rang. I'll get it. A woman came up. Lara? Benjamin heard his wife's surprised voice. What a surprise! What brings you here? And why alone? Where's your husband? Hello, brother. The young woman threw herself at the man's neck. Am I glad to see you? There you go, sister. He hugged her. Tell me how you are. I came to visit you. Husband? He's dead. I'm free again. Dead how? Evelyn gasped. Why? Why didn't you call? We would have come to support you. I beg you. The guest wrinkled her nose. Died of old age. It's already clear. Don't pretend you didn't know who I married. We were surprised at your choice, of course. He was a good husband to you and seemed to love you sincerely. And you must have loved him too. Otherwise, why did you marry him? What kind of love are you talking about, Evelyn? My husband was twice my age. His only virtue was that he was rich. And yet I shouldn't have told you. The lady of the house lamented. We are not strangers to him. We'd like to see him off to his final resting place, too. There was someone to see him off without you. Lara waved her hand carelessly. So don't worry. The main thing is that I'm fabulously rich now. All movable and immovable property has gone to me. Lately, as I felt, I began to take interest in the affairs of the company, the owner of which was my husband. So I can handle it. I have reliable people. You must be tired from the road. Evelyn caught on. Come on, I'll show you to your room. We'll meet in the kitchen in half an hour. The woman quickly assembled a festive table for her sister's arrival. Benjamin opened a bottle of wine. So, tell me, brother, how are you doing? How's business? Sitting down at the table and eating, Lara asked. Not bad, but I wish it were better. Benjamin frowned. What's holding you back? Lack of money. The bank refused to give me a loan, and I wanted to buy more goods to cover my debts. Trade is going well, but there's very little money left for development. So they're just stagnating. Listen, brother. Lara clapped him on the shoulder. I'm ready to invest in your firm. You? Benjamin was surprised. Why, I have the money, so what will they be idle? We'll make a family business out of it, you know. What do you say, brother? I gotta think about it. Think. I'm in no hurry. But I won't wait long. The money has to work. Benjamin thought all night and called his sister in the morning. Lara, I agree. Good. She was happy. I'll tell my lawyers to take care of the contract, and we'll meet to discuss the terms. A week later, Benjamin sat in the negotiating room and scrutinized the contract. Lara, I don't get it, do I? The man reread the terms of the deal over and over again. Now you own the majority of the firm? Why are you scared? The woman laughed. We are our own people. The fact that I have the majority of the business in my hands is logical. I have invested my money. I've paid off all your loans, and then, it's only on paper, I have a higher percentage, but you are still in charge here. I'm not even gonna get involved in running the firm. It's yours. You should have known, Benjamin thought, that I was getting into bondage, but I gave in to persuasion and promises, and now I'm paying for my cowardice, and what could I do? At the time, working with Lara was too tempting to calculate the risks, and I didn't want to think that the whole thing would backfire on me. I still had the business, I had plenty of work, and I had a family to feed. I was waiting for my daughter to grow up to strengthen my position. And this is how it turned out. Benjamin stood up, went to the bar, poured cognac into a glass and drank it. What to do? How to bring back the rebellious daughter? Meanwhile, Kayla bought groceries, dishes, and all the little things she lacked in the household and got into the car. Suddenly, the phone rang. Kayla, hello. She heard the cheerful voice of her friend. How are you? You're not in touch at all. You're in your village, and you don't show your face. Nora, it's so good to hear from you. I'm just in town, but I'm on my way back to the village. Where are you? I want to see you. Is there a coffee shop nearby? Why don't we sit and talk for a while? Okay, I'll wait for you. Half an hour later, the friends were already sitting in the nearest cafe. I can't get used to Kevin, Kayla admitted. He's nothing like Matthew. What do you mean different? Nora wondered. He does all the housework with ease. I'm used to having helpers around the house, and Kevin can do everything himself. You know, he can even cook better than me. He can't be bothered to clear the table, do the dishes. So it's good that you don't like it. I don't get it. Is he a homebody who doesn't socialize? On the contrary, he's new at his job and his coworkers already like him. Does he offend you? No way. Kayla made big eyes. He is ready to carry me in his arms, fulfills all my wishes. Friend, you are the happiest woman. Nora exclaimed, I envy you. Thank God you got rid of that pompous, self-righteous peacock, your Matthew. What a life you'd have had with him. Nothing but tears. I suppose you're right. She glanced furtively at her watch. Can't wait to get back to Kevin. She asked with a smile, I'll admit it, honestly. Yeah. Kayla blushed. Go. I'm happy for you. Say hi to Kevin. I'll be sure to come visit. The friends hugged each other warmly, said goodbye, and Kayla left. The days flew by. Kayla, one night after dinner, Kevin suggested, why don't we go for a walk by the river? I'd love to. The girl loved their evening walks. How nice is it here? She said dreamily, looking at the thick fog that was rising from the river. Kevin put his arm around Kayla and smiled. Maybe your parents had gotten better since last time? He asked hopefully. I wouldn't count on it. Kayla answered, besides, the situation with Matthew hasn't changed. My aunt isn't interested in him anymore, but she is interested in working with his father, and his father will only agree to work with her if Matthew and I get married or if he gets 15% of the company. There's no way his father's gonna go for that. It's a vicious circle. My parents are still mad at me. Kayla, I know we're not at a fancy restaurant or even a restaurant. Anyway, whatever. But I wanted to ask you something. About what? She smiled. Will you marry me? He asked, holding out a ring box to the girl. Kevin. The girl looked at him with tear-stained eyes. Of course, I would love to be your wife. Even without your parents' consent? Even without my parents' consent. I love you very much. I love you too. Kevin put his arms around her and kissed her hard. One day Kayla saw a strange car in the window that stopped in front of their house. Who was it? The girl wondered. The car is unfamiliar. Kevin did not warn her that we would have guests. To her horror, Matthew got out of the car. He looked around the house condescendingly and headed for the gate. Why did you come here? Kayla stepped out onto the porch and folded her arms across her chest, signaling that this guest was not welcome. How'd you find us? Jesus, Kayla! What's with the manners? You've only lived here for a short time, and you've forgotten how to behave? Guests should be made welcome. As far as I know, that's how it's done in the village. Give me a hug. At least pretend you're happy to see me. You're not welcome, and it's better if you leave now. I beg you, don't pretend that you're not glad to see me. Let me come into the house. We're not going to talk in the street. I don't want the neighbors to witness our conversation. I don't have time to receive uninvited guests. Tell me what you want here and leave. Don't give yourself any illusions. No one was expecting you here. I don't recognize my fiancé. I'm not your fiancé. Fie, Kayla. Country life is not good for you. Quite the opposite. I've learned to see through liars and traitors, and this is one of them, and I've lost the rose-colored glasses you can't put back on my eyes. Oh, come on, swaggered the young man, easily pushing her aside and walking into the house. Stop resenting what was, what is past. We are not strangers. Parents are friends. We are almost relatives. We have a lot in common, and if it were not for an unfortunate oversight, long ago would have become husband and wife, and all would be happy. And you have nothing here. He looked around. It's cozy. I didn't expect it. Although the house is a bit small, of course. Do you really want to live like this? Have you satisfied your curiosity? Now get out. You've become so rude, and I came for you. Honestly, I thought you'd come running to me first. I was wrong. I didn't realize that my gentle, calm, modest pride has a temper. Did you show it? I understood and realized everything and even came to apologize. Tell me you forgive me. Well, come to me. I missed you. He tried to hug her and kissed her. Kayla pushed him away. I see you still don't get it. Kayla looked contemptuously at her ex-fiancé. Did you really drive all the way out here and expect me to turn to you for a hug? How presumptuous are you, you scoundrel? I have too much self-respect to forgive treason. I really loved you. How blind was I? I believed that Dad would do the right thing, but no one even mentioned love. Don't you have any dignity at all if you agreed to marry a girl you don't love? Don't you care who you marry? Why do you let your father decide who you marry? Who am I talking to? She grinned sadly. All you care about is profit. If necessary, you'll marry a bald devil to please your father for fear of losing money. Honey, you're out of your mind. Matthew tried to change her mind. Of course I love you now. Otherwise, I would never have agreed to this marriage. You're wrong. Don't accuse me of all the deadly sins. You make me sound like a monster. Yes, I have faults. I'm ready to admit it. But I will improve. Just come with me. Believe me, I really loved you. Remember how good we were together? Loved you and cheated on your wedding day. What kind of love is that? You're wasting your time trying to convince me to come back. At least have some dignity. Honey, we've played enough games. Yes, I was wrong, but you've already punished me, gotten back at me with Kevin. He smirked. I'm not gonna make a jealous scene. Stop pouting. You get ugly when you're angry. I love you. He tried to kiss her again. Kayla pushed Matthew away and slapped him hard. At that moment, the door opened and Kevin walked in. What's going on in here? I see we have company. Kevin furrowed his eyebrows, eyeing his buddy warily. You're just in time. The girl was pleased. I've been telling Matthew that you proposed to me, and we're getting married in a couple of days, and we don't have time for guests. What wedding? What about us? Stunned Matthew. There is no we. Get out. Kayla cut him off. How many times do I have to tell you? I want to forget everything. You have no idea how hard it was for me to erase the image of you and Lara in my parents' bedroom. But I did it. You can't just send me away like that. It's our wedding. No one's canceling anything. You have to come home. Your parents are waiting for you. It's not my problem. Kayla said firmly, my home is here. I'm not marrying you anyway, and I don't care about your business. You can tell everyone concerned. I will not allow myself to be made a pawn so that you betting on me can win a lucrative game, and my parents will someday realize that love is more precious than anything else in the world. You've ruined everything, yelled Matthew in despair. Running around with your love, who needs it? Do you really like living here? Slaving from dawn to dusk and from paycheck to paycheck. What can it get you, Kevin? I can give you everything. What does he have that I don't? He knows how to be faithful. Kayla answered calmly, I'm not coming back to you. You're going to wish you'd come with me. Matthew looked angrily first at Kayla, then at Kevin. A year from now, you'll be sick of this life, and you'll want to come back, but it'll be too late, and then I'll watch you beg and plead to be taken back. I'm sorry for you, Matthew, the girl said sympathetically. The young man turned around, kicked his foot in the door, went outside, got into his car, and a minute later, only the dust from the wheels of the car reminded him of the unpleasant meeting. I'm sorry you had to listen to the nonsense Matthew was talking. Kayla walked over and gave Kevin a hug. I have a proposition. What is it? Kevin hesitated and said, Let's get ready for the wedding. Kayla laughed merrily, clung to him even tighter. I'm the luckiest woman in the world. Kevin leaned down to place a long, loving kiss on her lips.